Sorry about the internet breaking on me. Okay, so what am I gonna do tonight? I did this. Sorta.
Now that we have an authenticated player logged, we can do the fun stuff. In this video, we are going to make a leaderboard with the 10 highest scores of the game. Let's do it. The first thing we need to do is to go to our loot locker dashboard. Now that we have an authentic
Okay, so let's look at my weapons. So we have resources upgrades, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another upgrade based off of let's just close all this. It's a TRES, how come it doesn't load? Okay, so here is where the magic happens. So what I want is sword rate first. Let's do something to the axe. How come you don't show me a freaking... It's a TRES. Oh, TCSN. What is Tress? I don't even know. What I need for these components is I need there to be it's all connected to the ability script. If you have upgrade, has upgrade.id. If has upgrade, current upgrade. ID equals resource upgrade quantity 1. House currents upgrade quantity plus 1. So this is saying if you have the upgrade, then add an additional upgrade. So if you don't have the upgrade, okay. So what I have to do, we're gonna say else if, we're gonna do the same thing. Actually, we could just do a separate if statement in here. That might make more logical sense. Just label it so I know for now until I'm more confident that this code will work. We're gonna upgrade sword rate. upgrade sword damage. Axe and axe damage. Chad the Alpha Male, thank you for the follow. Self-proclaimed Alpha Male. Let's see if this works. Okay, so now what I'm checking for is that I'll only be able to do the sword rate, and then if I do the sword rate, then it should unlock the damage. Gonna lurk while you knock out some push-ups? That's so alpha. Bro. Okay, so now the way I have it set up, I should never get the... should never get the sword speed upgrade unless I first do the sword upgrade. Oh, no, it's the sword rate. So I have the sword rate by default, but I should never get damage unless I have the sword rate. Let's just keep seeing if I get sword damage. And also, I can test it by increasing the drop rate to like crazy amount. So now, if I don't get sword damage, the statistical chance of not getting it is like astounding. Okay, so I didn't get it. Good sign. So if I get the attack right now, in the next one, I should for sure get the damage. so now I for sure got the damage. Okay, so it works. Okay, so that's good. Let's turn the rate down. So it works. Cool. So I have to change something and say, I have to change the way the card looks. So sword rate, the one that you can get by damage is sword rate. Okay, so that's good. Now I have to make it so that the axe is not a default ability. It requires you to unload. So like the axe, let's look at all the places there's an axe. Okay, so I can just take this code and add it to the sword ability. Sword ability controller. Compare it to this. Okay, so this already has all the added to dictionary. If upgrade ID, sword rate. trying to figure out how to disable the sword by default. Hold on, I gotta check my phone. 1,000 push-ups every day? Wow, that's a lot, dude. You're gonna damage your body. That's like, it's too much repetition on a specific exercise. That's not good. 100 maybe. But yeah, 1,000 push-ups every day, that's not very alpha. That's just stupid. There's a lot of different, if you want to work out harder, there's much more varied motion that you could implement into your routine. But yeah, a repetitive motion like that. I mean, maybe if you're doing push-up variations, that might be okay. But straight up, if you're doing the same type of push-up 1,000 times, it's super dumb. Well, I know you're probably not actually doing 1,000. I know you're joking, so. And if you are, stop. Stop right now. Don't do that. The only places where I really see people benefit from like really repetitious exercise like that is in gymnastics. And even those guys don't really do it past like 25 if you're a man and 18 if you're a woman. So it's like, it's not like a sustainable form of fitness. Gymnastics, I mean. But I think you're joking, so it's fine, right? Because if I'm like roasting like a fictional joke, right? It's not that mean, is it? Yeah, but you don't do 1,000 push-ups, do you? Do you really do 1,000 push-ups? Because that's not good. Like 1,000 push-ups a day is not good. 100 is probably okay, but oh, so you're serious? Wow. Do you do variations like diamonds and then wide push-ups and then like other stuff, or is it just 1,000 straight up? One Punch Man workout. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. It would be much worse if you did the same variation of push-up. Do you do height variations, like with the distance where your feet are? Like maybe raise the feet or lower the feet below the level of your hands? Feet raised. So, no, I'm asking if you do variations, not if you just do feet raised. Do you do feet raised and level? Because feet raised will do like your shoulders more, right? It'll push more into here. This part, like if say you raise your foot 1, it'll push it up to here, but if you raise your feet like 3 feet, it'll push it up to like here, and then you'll be working different muscle groups. Oh yeah, I'm into fitness, dude. I'm 40. I'm almost 40, but I'm in good shape. I stay in good shape. So, I mean, yeah, you can kind of pull it off. You throw in some handstand push-ups in there. I still think 1,000 is a bit, I think it's like an ineffective way to, because at that point you're not really building strength either. You're just building endurance, which, I don't know, strength's more useful. Unless you're trying to like win the push-up competition. That'd be a situation where the endurance is more useful. Do you do weighted ones? Like for me, it'd be like, why wouldn't you just do heavier weight? So it's only 500 a day on average, I guess. Okay, now you're starting to sound more reasonable. Do you do any calisthenics with like a bar, like pull-ups or leg raises or anything? Because it'd be worth it to work those antagonistic muscles. You need to pull an equal amount to pushing. You know what I mean? especially with arms. Pull-ups, yeah. Pull-up variations too. Like for me, I do raised push-ups, but I do them like on a table, and I'll do them one-handed. Same with squats. I'll do one-legged squats, which you get a lot more out of in a lot less time, you know. If you can do something that's more difficult less, you'll always get a little bit of a better benefit. Again, and that's unless you're trying to win the most push-ups goal. Prison workouts up here. Where are you? You're like in Alaska? Even for like prisons, they'll do like burpee variations and stuff. They'll do kicks with their legs. They'll do push-up variations with mountain climbers. Anything beyond 100 of the same push-up variation is like kind of not that good. Same with sit-ups. A raid of 1. A one-man army. Bro, Roiku, how you doing, my man? Let me shout that guy out. He doesn't have enough of an audience. This one-man army. I love it, dude. We're like the unpopular Twitch streamers, man. A Pomodoro timer? I don't even know what a Pomodoro is, man. Is that some word from like your non-English speaking language that you speak that I forget what it is? Roiku, or shout out. It's a real thing. A method of work and break flow. 25 minutes work, 5 minutes break. Oh, so it just keeps track of the time for you? I feel like you don't really need to program that. Like, I feel like you're over... This is just like my stream, I guess it's just me like telling my viewers they're doing things wrong. But I feel like coding your own thing to give you a reminder every 25 minutes is like cool, but that's something any mobile phone or computer can already do with very little effort. I could do one right now. I could set up my bot to tell me to stop working every 25 minutes and then start again. And I wouldn't have to code anything. It feels like over-engineering, Roiku. I only work for hours, then take break. But it's a nice exercise to make your cell phone. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, if you're trying to know how to do it, if you're trying to learn, then it's all good, yeah. It's good to hear from you, Roiku. I'm glad you're still doing code, man. I've been like practicing hard, and using Godot has helped my JavaScript level up quite a bit because the logic in Godot is very similar to JavaScript. In GDScript, it has like aspects of like a lot of different programming languages. It's like the chimera of programming languages. Such a timer myself, so I edited my exercise speedrunning clock to go backwards towards 0 and then do the thing I have, the different lengths session. So I did all this code, and I'm trying to remember how to remove an ability. And I can't find it. On ability upgrade. If ability upgrade ID equals X damage, additional damage. So I made it so it requires one upgrade to get the other, but I'm having a little issue with the... So if chosen upgrade ID equals upgrade sword rate, upgrade pool, add item, upgrade pool, upgrade axe, upgrade axe. I gotta find where I made it so I can't remember how I made it so that the sword was on by default. It's probably in the player actually. Let's check that. Because I gotta remove that. Oh, it's right here. I just gotta, here, I'll just, for now, I'll just gotta remove this. That's actually crazy easy. Okay, so now I don't have the sword by default, right? Let me see. Yep, don't have it. Now I gotta see if I can get it. And this is gonna be crazy hard without it. I need that. I'm just gonna grab it and die. Okay, so now by getting this... Okay, so it's not instantiating. Okay. So... the axe has something that when you select it, it instantiates. Let me just undo that just so I don't accidentally mess something up. Cool game? Yeah, it's awesome. Here, you can play it. I have a version up right now if you want. I just can't remember. I like built out so much stuff, I lost track of what I was doing. The system is good because I used a tutorial to set it up and it was like a really good tutorial, but oh, sorry, my stuff isn't on. Hold on. I don't have stream avatars on, which is what I use for my commands. Oh, I have to upload Steam. I'm gonna set up a global leaderboard with it. freaking having to open Steam, dude. What a hassle. Yeah, I kind of played it on phone just in web and it works really well, which is a good sign because that means it'll probably most likely work well if I do an actual phone version. I think I might make it free on Steam too, if I can get people to donate and pay for it. I'm not gonna sell it on Steam, but I'll make it free on Steam with in-game transactions. It's pretty easy to set up on Godot, so. What have you been using engine-wise these days, Roiku? So there has to be something somewhere where I get it to start instantiate. Yeah, that sounds cool. Okay, so this instantiate here. It's not here. Oh wait, it is. Yeah, GameMaker is good. Is there like, I don't really know this. Is there like code in the back end of GameMaker that makes it, that's kind of like Unity? One of the reasons I like Godot better than Unity is all the code is front facing. So you have a lot more optimization potential, you know, unless you can do it with Unity, but Unity you have to have an actual like developer license, which is freaking expensive as hell. New users, Godot would be a cheaper choice. Well, like RPG Maker and Godot, you can access all of the aspects of the code. So like Unity, for example, if you if you export a game in Unity, right? There's stuff that you'll never have access to edit in the game. Like stuff will be exported that's part of the engine. You just can't change, no matter what you do, unless you get the commercial license. And that means you have to have one person who makes $100,000 a year off a game or whatever. And then once you do that, you get the Unity commercial license, and then you can actually get access to the back end of Unity, so long as you sign an NDA. Being that Godot is open source, you see you see all of the workings of the client, the editor, the Unity editor, or the Godot editor. So you can see all of every single line of code that goes into your export. RPG Maker is the same way. Even though RPG Maker is not open source, one of the things that I was attracted to it for is because it works in very much a similar way to open source software, in that you can see everything that's exported into your game, other than maybe like some of the container stuff and like OpenGL and some other crap, but or WebGL. And I don't necessarily mean you would edit it. You would edit the export, but it's just that you have the ability to optimize your code more. That's basically the bottom line. Is you can make a more optimized version of your game with Godot than you can with Unity, than if you have the Unity license. With the Unity license, you can make an optimized version of both, and then Unity might be the better choice because it has a lot more features. Yeah. I would think Game Maker is similar to RPG Maker in that you have more control of everything in exports, but it could go either way. I'm not familiar enough with the engine. Being the pricing model it is, Unity wants to keep some of its core code secret because that's what they sell, you know? It's like they have their intellectual property. That's kind of the business model behind it. Where that's not a necessity at all for Godot. And for RPG Maker, they don't really care about intellectual property because they're not selling a subscription product. Like they just make a new version of it and then they sell it. That's how their model works. Like RPG Maker's business model is every 3 or 4 years they make a new version of their software, which does implement a lot of the old code, but then they just sell it for $60 again, you know, and so that's how they make their money. Where Unity, it's like the goal is the top, 1% of developers, or even less than that, will ultimately pay like $1,000 a month eventually when they get the commercial license. That's their business model. Yeah, I'd imagine that Game Maker Studio has some things you can access, similar to the way Unity is scheduled, especially now that they're going more towards a subscription model. When you have a subscription model, you tend to keep your users away from some of your code, because what'll happen is if you don't, they might just create an open source version of your engine over time and basically make your premium software obsolete. Which, if you do have to protect your property if you have like paid programmers, But I'm all about the open source. I like RPG Maker because it's similar to open source. It's not open source, but for all practical reasons, the benefits to open source that I get from RPG Maker as well. Like in that I can see everything the code is doing. Basically. I mean, there's some exceptions to that even, because I can't access the source code of like the editor, for example. But ultimately, RPG Maker as an engine, it's purely just an editor. All it is. And it doesn't actually export any code you don't see. The editor itself, you can't see the code, but what you do export when you push your game out, you can see every line of code. Or before it. Yeah. And I also like the model of RPG Maker because they just have like, it comes out, right? And then it's like a solid engine that stays the same for like 3 or 4 years. And then they make the new version and it's like really different. But the old one still exists as like a viable option. So it's like, it's not like you have this incremental upgrade necessity that happens over time. People who started RPG Maker projects in 2003 are still working on those same projects now and like finishing them up and still releasing them here and there. That's like still a thing that happens, you know? So there's no equivalent to that in Unity or even Godot probably. You know what I mean? Because the style of the game and, you know, what you're making, those old engines work great. In some ways they're better. Not in most, but in some. No free engines existed in 2003. Yeah, but I mean, try using a 20-year-old version of Unity. That shit's not gonna work. RPG Maker's 20-year-old version works great. In many ways, it works better than the current one. You know what I mean? That's why RPG Maker's cool. No one's gonna pay 10,000. No, but that's not the point I'm making. Even if you took like an earlier version of Unity and say like, I don't know, whenever it came out, 2000 whatever, and you went 20 years later, like the Unity game from 20 years before is always gonna be a piece of shit because it's engineered into the price model that with any kind of subscription game that the old one will not work. Like it's part of the design of the product. Nowadays free to download. Yeah, because the idea is it's a form of marketing to make a free version of it. I mean, RPG Maker in 2003 was more accessible. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Actually, I would say that I remember I had a friend who had the Unreal Engine and has access to the old one. And that engine is actually still pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like viable to make a commercial product in the same way that RPG Maker 2003 is, but it was good. It was still pretty good. Like nowadays with 3D graphics and everything, you need all kinds of implementations to work with modern graphics cards and stuff. Back then, like I remember during 2000, it was like you would use like the Unreal card. I still haven't figured this out. Oh, I think I found it. Unready base wait time, timer, game events. Oh, maybe I can find that dictionary. So it adds it to Where's this chosen upgrades array? Bro, I can't figure this out. I forgot how I did it. I did a couple tutorials. Let me just double check to see that it doesn't work. Oh wait. Cause like I seem like I know what I'm doing. Sorry for laughing. I mean, that's really nice. Like many things, I know how to do the things I want to do, but I don't ever really, I'm not good at developing like a good generalized information, like a generalized skill set. I always just figure out how to do the exact things I want to do, and I just do those really fast. It's kind of good because as far as like other solo game devs, I get stuff done. But yeah. Wow, the way I coded this max speed is like super good. Ability controller scene, instantiate. If ability upgrade is ability. Oh, okay. So I have to set the ability upgrade to ability in the sword. That's it. This is it right here. So let's go to the sword upgrade here. And we can compare that to the axe ability controller. So this one is ability. I'm looking for something that's just ability. Not ability upgrade. Dang, man. So, basically the way the sword instantiates is I have it set so that it's ability, not ability upgrade, but I just have to find where I set that now. And then the sword will be, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it so it's required that you have to upgrade the sword, but I just forgot how I set it up. I guess it's good that I'm reacquainting myself because I'm still going to add another skill. Where is this pack scene? Sword ability. It's like there's so many places it could be. If upgrade pool item size equals size, chosen upgrade size, break. If upgrade pool item size equals chosen upgrade size, break. Chosen upgrade equals pool pick item. Oh! No, this isn't it. I thought I found it. I was wrong. This is just, it adds it to the upgrade pool. Let me just double check to make sure it doesn't do what I want it to do. Just remove this again. Just cut it so it doesn't disappear. So what I'm checking for, actually we can make this go a bit faster in testing by increasing the upgrade managers, sword rate possibility. here's the cutlass attack. But it's not giving me the cutlass attack. It's not instantiating. If you look here, right, in the import, like it's supposed to instantiate here. In the same way, like, I have this up, right? If I start game, here, if I have this up, I might have to look through the tutorial again. Too boring. If you're bored, just do it faster. Okay, let me look at the instantiates I have in here. I got this one. Maybe the sword is already in the array. See, that's the only thing I could think, is that the sword is already in the array where the axe is not, and I don't know how to access that. If we don't have upgrade. Hmm. How do I find this current upgrades? What do I have on load? What am I doing on load? Game events. Does game events have current upgrades in it? Upgrade, ability upgrade, current upgrades, dictionary. Fuck. Where are you? Am I gonna have to go watch those videos again? Yeah, I think I have to. Let's put the sword back in the game before I forget. Is the tutorial guy? I have a premium Udemy tutorial that I'm gonna like illegally show right now on stream. It's good though. Finding a good tutorial will just save you a lot of time. I paid like $15 for it, but okay, so this is when we created the first sword ability. I'm gonna see how we did it and see how he made it auto spawn. And then I have to compare it to the
Rough start here. Now, what options do we want? We're going to do 3. We're going to have...
He's trying to teach you how to do the options menu. I don't want to do that right now.
path, and node paths are strings. It's time to work on our first ability. Now, as you probably already know, a key feature of the Survivors-like game is that your abilities auto-attack. You do not actually control any of your abilities, at least in Vampire Survivors. I'm sure there are other games that slightly tweak that formula, but we're going to go with that style where your abilities are going to auto-attack and you'll upgrade them over time. And so the first ability that we're going to implement is going to be a quote-unquote melee attack that happens on a specific interval. Go ahead and go over to your tile map and let's take a look at it and see what we could use as
Tutorial,
this
you
ability.
can use it
Now, since
forever.
it's going to be a melee attack, I'm thinking that we can take this sword right here and have it pop into existence, slash at something, and then disappear, and then have that
Actually,
go
this
on
isn't
an
the one I need to watch. I need to watch the axe one.
radius, damaging every enemy that it hits. And I think that's going to be a really fun ability to make, and it shouldn't be too complicated. So I'm actually going to go look for this axe image now. So I'm going to go to the tiles directory of that asset pack, and I'm just going to scroll until I find tile 0118. So I'm just going to drag it over into the Godot editor, into the file system doc, and that should place it there. And then I'm going to go open up my scenes ability. Let's create a new folder underneath the ability directory in scenes. So we're going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this axe_ability. And I'm going to rename this tile to axe. And then I'm going to just drag that axe over into the axe ability directory that we just created. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to create another scene by hitting Control N on the keyboard. Let's make it a root type of 2D scene. Let's call this axe ability, and let's save it. Let's go up a couple directories until we find that axe ability folder that we created. Click into there and save that in there. Let's hit Control A to add a new node. Search for type sprite 2D. Add that. and then drag over that axe PNG onto the texture property. Let's select the 2D button at the top so we can go back to our 2D view. And this is what our axe looks like. And I think the default settings here are pretty much going to be fine as they are. And we'll do more of this axe ability later. What I want to do is I want to make the axe ability controller spawn the axe. So let's go to our axe ability controller scene, open up that script. Let's do @export, and you probably know where we're going. We're going to export that scene. So we're going to say var axe ability scene of type axe scene. And before we go any further, let's just go ahead and drag that axe ability scene over in here. So go to your file system, grab that axe ability and drag it on over. Or of course you can use the load dialog here and select it manually from the file system if you prefer. Okay, so let's override the ready method here. Let's grab a reference to the timer with $timer, and then we're going to say .timeout.connect on timer timeout. And again, I'm going to go a little bit faster with the scripting now because we've done a lot of this stuff already. So func on timer timeout. And let's create an instance of that axe ability scene. So we're going to say var axe instance is equal to axe ability scene dot instantiate, and we can say as node 2D because that's the type that it is. And what do we want to do? Well, we want to grab a reference to the player first. So let's go ahead and do that. Var player is equal to get underscore tree dot get first node in group in quotes player as node 2D. And then let's do a check if player is equal to null. Let's just return out of that. Perfect. Then let's grab a reference to the foreground. So we're going to say var foreground is equal to get tree dot get first node in group foreground as node 2D. And remember, our foreground is in our main scene here. It's this node 2D, and it has the group foreground layer. So we actually need to update the string. So in our axe ability controller script, this needs to be foreground underscore layer here. That's going to give us basically where our abilities will exist as children. And we can also add a safety check here if we want to. So we'll say if foreground is equal to null, then we'll just return out of that as well. Okay, so then we've got our axe instance. Let's say foreground.add child axe instance. And then we're going to say axe instance.global position is equal to player.global position. Okay, let's hit Control-Shift-O and then open up our player scene. In our ability manager, let's instantiate a child scene and put the axe ability controller right next to the sword ability controller. So again, right-click ability manager, instantiate child scene, and axe ability controller in there. And if we did everything right, when we play the game, we should see that the axe periodically spawns at the player position. There it is. Now we need to make the axe actually work. So let's go to our axe ability scene. We can go back to the 2D mode just to see what's going on here. And let's go ahead and add a script, and the default location is good. So what do we want to do in the axe ability? Well, the first thing that we want to do is we probably want to animate it. And again, I want it to spiral out away from the player. And so I think the easiest way to do that is going to be using a tween. So let's override the ready method. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a tween. So var tween is equal to create tween. Now, tweens are a new concept for us. A tween is essentially a way of programmatically defining animations. We can animate pretty much any property in the same way that we can in Animation Player, but tweens are a little bit more flexible in some cases than animation players because we can pass in variable properties. So if you recall with an animation player, we had to define specific keyframes along the animation. And with a tween, if we have some variable, like we want to move or animate something between two positions, but those positions vary, then we can easily accomplish that with a tween. And so in this case, what we're going to do is we are going to tween the position of the axe over time, and we're going to make it spiral. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to do the best that I can to describe what's going on. So what I want to do is I'm going to call tween.tween
See,
method.
so now
And
he has
what
it.
this allows us to do is this allows us to call a method where we can write our own behavior.
He has it automatically instantiated, right? So the axe just comes automatically. And at some point in this, he's going to tell you how to make it so you have to choose the selection screen. And the axe is not on by default. That's what I have to find because then I can apply that same logic to the sword.
This is not typically how you'd use a tween, but in our case, this is
So I'm
what
just
we're
kind
gonna
of
do. So the
speeding
method
through
is
it until I
callable.
see
So we'll say tween underscore method, which we'll write soon. What do we want to tween it from? Let's create another ability for the player so that we have a little bit more gameplay variety. So just as a refresher, let's go ahead and open up our sword ability controller by hitting Control-Shift-O on the keyboard and searching for it, and drag that axe ability scene over in here. So it's basically where our abilities will exist as in our ability manager. Let's instantiate a child scene and put the axe ability specific keyframes along the able, but those positions is we, and we're like in all a method tween. So we'll 1 to 10 for whatever rotations. Want this to here radius. And what I'm going to say is 2, and doing here is we're essentially saying we can even pull it by 2, and along in the apply is equal to rotate it. And what we're going to rotate is tau 60 degrees. Remember tau around, and then we can rotate this tau to get axe. Here, so var player, and let's just initial player. Our own global position is equal to player dot global position. Okay, so we'll say global, going to look familiar, right? That's what essentially we should have as we expect. And you can see that it's actually being really herky-jerky, and it's just kind of integer here. And by doing float, annually increases in radius and swings are from this down to. So we're and 0 and 2 between positions. So when we define and it 1 that we are apply or 0. And so the rest of this position, we're just assuming that this is probably accurate, and then we can otherwise just stop moving our global height with player global. The axe from that but this is the really useful because it's between not invo reference to be is more work to see that things is the hitbox component. So the hitbox component is very our axe ability rather. Let's instantiate a child scene hitbox component and let's add wait here. All good. That's good. Do now. And so the way that we're the sword ability controller to that hitbox component, which then carries the damage to the enemy. So let's do the same thing in our axe ability controller. Let's create a var damage. We are going to script and our hitbox underscore component. All that we need. Let's go back to and when we create hitbox. Now so our axe is doing damage to enemies a little bit. Animation player and then clicking new duration with this my sprite 2D here, and I'm going to click the key icon, the slider in the bottom right at 0.5 seconds, 60. Far right over here that says animation, you can see that we've got an, and the final thing we should do is let the animation start playing. Perfect. So we got to save more. The thing that I do want to do though is I want to randomize the starting rotation for the act twice, and then the bit rotation that I'm going to declare a. We'll set that to vector set bait. Then we're going to say, and then what I'm going to do is replace those are all. Okay, so that's looking great. To make it appear as an upgrade option when the player levels up. With our axe ability built, we need a way of giving it to the player as a reward for leveling up. So let's go ahead and do that. The first thing that we're going to do is go into our player scene, and you can again open up the scene.
This is what I need.
Player, or click into it from the main scene here. And let's go ahead and delete the axe ability controller from there. Perfect. So now we will not start with the axe ability. We'll need to acquire it through the level up process. How are we going to do this? Well, if we look at our upgrade manager, so go ahead and open up the upgrade manager scene, click into the script, and you can see that we've got an upgrade pool right here. And we are choosing an upgrade and passing it in to this upgrade screen, set ability upgrades, right? So you'll recall that the upgrade screen will display our number of upgrades, and we're essentially referencing ability upgrade, which is a resource, a custom resource that has a couple of export properties here. So this is called ability upgrade, but I think it makes sense to use this and extend this for new abilities as well. So at the end of the day, everything, whether it's an explicit upgrade for an ability or whether it's a new ability, can all be considered ability upgrades. So let's go ahead and create a resource for the axe ability. So I'm going to go into my resources directory in my file system, and then I'm going to go into the upgrades directory, and I'm going to take this sword right here. I'm going to right click it and then click duplicate, and I'm going to name this axe instead. Now if I double click on the axe, you can see that I've duplicated all of these properties, but we actually don't want that, right? So we're going to replace all these. So for the ID, let's go ahead and write just plain old axe in there, and then we're going to type in the name as axe with a capital A, and then let's write a short description, and this can be whatever you want, but I'm going to write periodically sends out a spinning axe. So something like that. And so we can look at our sword and we can see that we have our sword now and we have our axe. Let's go back to our upgrade manager script by clicking the script button in the upgrade manager scene. And now we have to choose more than one upgrade from the upgrade pool. And the other thing that we have to consider is that we might have unique upgrades or upgrades that can only be chosen once. So once we choose the axe ability, we probably don't want to be able to choose it again. But we'll handle that later. Let's get more than one upgrade being chosen at a time. There's a more immediate problem facing us, and that is that we don't want the same upgrade to be chosen twice when we are generating the upgrades to show on the upgrade screen. So we're going to need to do a bunch of array manipulation here to get this. I'm actually going to cut this on because, again, and everything else in the middle. So I'm going to create a new function just below the apply upgrade called pick upgrades, or we're going to choose two upgrades. Now, in order to avoid the situation where we pick two of the same upgrade, we're going to need to filter that we pick upgrades, and we'll call it vol, and we're duplicate. And so what upgrade name array filtered up reference is this, it would break filtered in on level up. And so where we're choosing the upgrade, X to cut, and we'll delete those excess lines, fix the indentation. Don't even need this if chosen up down here. Pick from the, here's where the crux, so we want to say filtered upgrade method using a method in here. And we can actually define, and then what we want to do is keep the element in this array, the action, that element gets filtered out. Is not equal to saying we're going to choose, we're going to take our chosen upgrade and we're going to return share function. And if you want to take a look here, this returns a new array. Filtered upgrades is equal to filtered upgrades.filter. So this filter returns a new array, and then now you can see when it goes to the pool, it was chosen in the last.
I gotta check. See if we can find the sword.
next iteration. And we can extend this out indefinitely, assuming that we had enough upgrades, right? We could say, do that 100 times and keep whittling down the filtered upgrades so that we're not picking duplicates, right? Okay, and then at the end, what we can do is we have to return our chosen upgrades. Now, we're not actually keeping track of those anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new variable, var chosen upgrades, and then we're going to initialize that to an empty array using open and close brackets. So this is an empty array representing our chosen upgrades. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that chosen upgrade inside the for loop into that array. So we're going to say chosen upgrades.
Oh, cool. You want a game jam? That's really cool, man. I would love to see. Send me a link. I'll look at it.
Plural dot append chosen upgrade. So we're adding each upgrade that we choose and then removing it from the filtered array. And then we can return at the end our chosen upgrades. Perfect. So now what we can do is we can, in the onLevelUp function, underneath the add child, let's go ahead and say var chosen upgrades. When I put a new line here, axe upgrade gets presented to us. So I'm just going to go ahead and collect one vial here, and we got a crash. And why did we get a crash? Chosen upgrade working, and you can see that I've got the axe specified here alongside the sword quickness, and those are the only two arrays, or those are the only two upgrades rather that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and click the axe, and nothing's going to happen. Why? Because we haven't actually built any code for handling the axe. The way that we're going to handle adding that ability to the player is we're going to extend our ability upgrade script a little bit. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to show you how you can use inheritance to create a separate resource type that has one additional property. So let's create a new script in our file system resources upgrades folder. So right alongside these upgrades, and let's create a new script, and let's just call it, we'll just call it ability simply. Perhaps that's not the best name, but we'll just call it ability.gd. And what we're going to do is we're going to have this extend ability upgrade. So we're going to replace extends with ability upgrade up there. And then we're going to add another export variable. And we're going to say var ability controller scene of type packed scene. So now let's double click our axe.tres here. And we have it set to use the ability upgrade.gd, but let's instead drag the ability over instead. And look what happened.
That's it. That's it. I found it. I found it. Or maybe not.
Scene. So now let's double click our axe.tres.
I think I figured it out. Dude, it's so easy. So basically, oh my gosh, I feel so dumb now. So basically there's a separate class and you link it to it. It's like a subclass. And all that searching through the stuff, it's such an easy solution. Give me an upgrade, damn it. Give me that. Okay, so now that I get this, it's gonna work. Oh, crash. Okay, so
And we have it set to use the ability upgrade.gd, but let's instead drag the ability over instead. And look what happens now. So we get all of the properties that are specified in ability upgrade alongside property that we just specified here. And I'm going to give this a class name as well. So I'm going to say class underscore name ability. Okay, so in our axe.tres, let's go ahead and drag over the axe controller. So
Okay, so in the sword controller, I'm a little lost now.
So now let's double click our axe.tres here, and we have it set to use the ability upgrade.gd, but let's instead drag the ability over instead. And look what happens now. So we get all of the properties that are specified in ability upgrade alongside the new property that we just specified here. And I'm going to...
Okay, let's try this again. And we're also going to go to upgrade manager. Increase the sword rate, yes. It's not going to crash this time.
It's a class name as well. So I'm going to say class underscore name ability. Okay, so in our axe.tres, let's go ahead and drag over the axe controller. So let's search in our file system axe. We've got the ability controller here. So I'm just going to drag that over and put it right there. So now we're able to associate the actual scene that gives the player this ability with this resource. And so how is this going to work then? Well, we're going to go to our player.
It works. Oh, wait.
And we have our ability here. So I'm going to open up the player script. Let's grab a reference to that ability manager node. So I'm going to do another onReady.
Okay, I think it works. I just have to remove this. Yes! Motherfucker works. Bro, this is so sick. Okay, so just to check again, when I don't have the ability, right, it doesn't work. I don't have it. Man, that was so simple. I'm like blowing away my mind. Awesome. Okay, so now the sword is no longer a default ability. That is freaking sick, dude. Holy cow. Okay, so next stage, I have to add an additional upgrade for the bullets to make them more powerful. There's a couple ways to do this. the easiest, quickest way would be to just copy this and then go in the bottom of the player script or the upgrade manager. Oh wait, no. Where is it? No, it's not in the experience manager. Okay, I want to check one more thing. So we're gonna go open up the player scene, and I'm gonna watch this to see that the sword pops up over here when I get it. Can't really see. I thought it would instantiate here, but I guess not. Only works on remote. Can I find the player? Oh, he's dead though. He's queued out, so he's not gonna be here. I gotta fix those victory menu real quick too. Gosh, that was so easy. I'm gonna turn up the damage. So I'm gonna have to make a bullet ability controller. I already have one. Oh, okay. So there's two upgrades I'm gonna offer to the bullets. It's gonna be a speed, a frequency upgrade, and I'm pretty pumped. Like, I feel like I've accomplished a lot already just by doing that, because now I have a much stronger understanding of the way the upgrades work. So I feel like the change I want to make to the so I did that, but now these two are going to be much easier now that I understand how this works again. All this stuff, I feel like I can finish all of that this week pretty easily. I do have a local, well, I sort of have a local leaderboard. I should just say with database, or JSON more specifically, because if I'm saying JSON, it's implied that it's a database. So I have the local leaderboard, but it only saves when you update the game, so. Okay. Whew. Honestly, all of this stuff, this one is probably pretty hard, but all of this I could do it in like a day. Well, not maybe the on-screen controls and the gamepad controls, but everything else other than those two things. In fact, let's move these down because these are hard and I want to be realistic. But I can do everything, all of this, within a day. And even all of this. Everything up to here, I know how to do right now. Just a matter of putting in the time and doing the work. This I could do all of that within a day. But I should probably go to sleep. It's 11:30. And drop a raid on somebody. Ooh. Yeah. If you want to play this game, hey man, thanks guys. You guys are all so nice. Don't you know that you're supposed to just come in here and be like, oh my gosh, learn to code, loser. That's what people usually say. But I guess I'm getting better at coding, so. Thanks for roasting you. I don't even know who you are. What you said, didn't sound so silly, but when you said it at first, I'm like a fit guy. Like I paddle, right? My team, we won like the county championships, and we also got third in the state championships. This is this year. So I mean, like I'm an athlete myself. I still consider that like a recreational level. I'm not like a pro athlete, but I'm an athletic person. Even though right now I'm not in the best shape I've ever been. And I know that if I tried to do 1,000 push-ups a day, I would like damage all my, everything in my body. And I would get old really fast. Fuck. Okay, so let's go to Twitch. See if we can find anybody worth my raid. I will probably hang out in chat for a little bit. For me, it's like, hey, Code. Why are you up so late, Code? Code, so this is what so today so far, I figured out how to make it so the sword ability that I have is not a default ability. So that's really cool. See, there's no sword, right? And then when I kill... Then when I add it, suddenly there's a sword. So I figured that out today. Very proud of myself. But yeah, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bullet upgrades where you can upgrade your gun. And then I'll probably make the game a little bit easier to start. And I don't know, I'll figure out that's kind of like balancing after that. But right now I just want to set up the functionality that the bullet, you'll start off with a slower rate of fire and you'll start off with less damage. So like bullets only do 1 damage per shot, right? But I'm going to make it so you can upgrade them pretty much indefinitely. just like everything else in the damage scale. Like you can just keep adding damage. And for bullets, that's pretty nuts because it's going to be like really crappy at first to upgrade your bullets because it'll go from 1 to 2. Well, actually, it'll be really strong at first, but then it'll be really crappy towards the end. But it's good. Who should I raid? Anybody got any suggestions? This was a fun stream. I had fun. For me, this was a short stream, a 2-hour stream. Can raid Zed Craze. Let's raid Zed Craze. I haven't raided him in a while. It's time to raid the Zed Craze. I don't see any other Godot fam on, so we're going to go to an RPG Maker fam. Oh, Code Rat is streaming.
Now this is the best idea ever. The all-new Doritos Cool Ranch Papadilla.
Okay, I'm going to look. If Zed Craze is playing a video game, then we're going to...
Events, but...
Oh, he's using Unity.
So if I put in here...
He's using
test,
RPG Maker
what's gonna
Unite.
happen?
Holy cow. Okay, I'll see you guys later. We're going to go do some RPG Maker Unite.
So this looks like it might be as useless as the event searcher in RPG Maker, so that sucks. I mean, hey, Maui with the raid. Hey, Roku. Meow. What up? Oh, look at the bombs go off. I'm sure that didn't happen before with the raids. Is this what you think it is? Yeah. RPG Maker, unite. I've been